Hello, Jeremy Chambers, Independence Acres Homestead. Coming to you from the kitchen today, we're going to be going over a way to do something with that tremendous pepper harvest that you have this year. Okay, so I don't know about you guys, but I really enjoy all things hot. Okay, well, not super hot, but like I like sriracha sauce, I like buffalo wings. I just generally enjoy a good little bit of heat on the tongue, right? So kimchi, yeah, just all that stuff just really gets the taste buds flowing there. So we had a lot of peppers come out of the garden this year. Despite our hail and frost, we still have a lot of peppers to deal with. And they're slowly starting to ripen, even though our days are getting shorter and our temps are definitely starting to fall. So it was time to get something done with some of these peppers. And today I went out and harvested all of our red peppers. So what I've got here in the sink, they're soaking in just a little bit of vinegar and water just to clean them off a little bit. I've got, these are Hungarian black peppers that, well, they're not black anymore, they're red, which they turn red when they ripen. We have some jalapenos, right? And this is a ripened fish pepper. I don't know if you can see or not, but it's still got the striations there, just a little bit, right? The variegation. And then just to add some sweetness to this sauce, we've got red Marconi. So those are going to soak for about 5-10 minutes, not a super long time, in the water bath there, just so they can get cleaned a little bit, make sure there's no buggies in them. And then we'll rinse them off and they'll dry on the counter. The other thing I've got here is some salt water. What I did is heated up about 5 cups of water and then added in about 6 1/4 teaspoons of salt. And this is just going to be our brine for a fermented pepper sauce. So this is day 1 of a fermented hot pepper sauce. Okay, so we're ready to start getting the peppers into the jar. Well, we gotta cut them up first. A little bit of preparation. Anytime I'm working with hot peppers, I like to put some latex or vinyl gloves, kitchen gloves of some sort. Really fill up 2-quart jars today. And a couple little add-ins. While this is a fermented pepper sauce, we also add in some carrot just for a little bit of depth of flavor. And a little bit of chopped garlic, because who does not like garlic? Don't tell me if you don't like garlic. All right. So with the peppers, we're not going to be being super careful with them. Honestly, we're just going to slice them up. Seeds, veins, everything is going to go into the jars. Because all that's going to add to the heat, and it's all just going to get blended up as we go. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to chop up all the peppers. And then get them into the jars. I am by no means an expert when it comes to fermented foods. I have learned by reading books, watching some videos online. This is really our first year going into the fermented pepper sauce route. We've made some fermented peppers before. We normally just do banana pepper rings using a pepperoncini recipe, so you get that pepperoncini flavor, but with the thickness of the banana peppers. But this is just kind of a new way. I really wanted to grow some hot peppers this year, and I figured I'd better have something that I could do with them if I'm going to grow them. So here we go with fermented pepper sauce. So once we've got all the peppers cut up and in the jars, We got some layers going on here. So you can see we did some pepper. We've got 3 cloves of garlic in each jar and 1/2 of a carrot. And we left a good amount of headspace there so that we can fill these up with the saltwater brine. And then once it's full with the saltwater brine, we've got some glass weights to put on top. And this is just going to make sure that the peppers stay submerged under the brine. And then after that, we've got some fermentation lids. Now, these are not necessary. There's ways to go around this. Go grab some marbles, put them in a sandwich baggie, set it in the top of the jar in order to hold the food down. It's just making sure that everything stays submerged, because if any food gets above the surface of that brine, it has a tendency to mold and start to go bad, and that could ruin your whole batch. So you got to make sure you keep it below the level. So let's get these filled up, get the weights in, and get the lids on, the fermentation lids on the jars. There we have it. This is peppers in the brine, and we are all sealed up. We'll let this sit on the shelf in a spot that's out of sunlight, a little cooler in the room here, for 5 to 7 days. So today is October 1st. We'll record the rest of this video on October, 7 or 8. We'll see how it goes. It depends on when I have time. It won't hurt to sit another day or two longer, but I definitely don't want to let it go too long. Otherwise, we'll begin to have some little bit too much fermentation going on. And we don't want to lose the pepper flavor that we're going to have. This is just going to be a nice, really richly flavored pepper sauce with a nice fermented tang, but with plenty of heat from all those peppers.
The following Thursday.
All right, here we are, 6 days, a haircut, and 2 shaves later. And this is what our peppers look like after fermenting for 6 days. So the volume has condensed a lot. We got a little bit of a cloudy solution here, and you can see, well, hopefully you can see, there's a lot of bubbles going on. That is a good sign that fermentation is working well. Now it's time to go ahead and get these things blended down for some sauce. So what we're going to do is we're just going to open the jars. We're going to pour them into the colander here, drain off the brine. Everything's going to go into our handy dander Blendtec blender here. Same one we use to make our homemade mayonnaise. If you haven't seen that video yet, check it out. And we're going to get everything blended down and begin to add in some extras just to get it to that tweaked, spicy, vinegary, sweet flavor that I'm looking for. Pepper's all drained, and in the blender, I'm going to add about a cup of purified or spring or distilled water, just whatever you have available. Just to make sure that this gets nice and liquidy. My last batch of pepper sauce that I made was so thick that, it looks like baby food. So we need to make sure that we get this thinned out a little bit better. So before I start any of the add-ins, I am going to take a taste of it as it is. See how this tastes. Wish me luck. And my taste buds, long life and health. Look at this. Look at how red and rich that is. I mean, it's Whew, it's just straight heat, baby. Just straight heat. So what I'm looking for as far as a flavor profile is something with some sweetness and that vinegary acidity. So I'm going to be adding about 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar, and I'm going to start adding a little bit of honey and just begin adding it and tasting it, until I get to the flavor profile I'm looking for. It's pretty good. I think I'm going to leave it there because it is going to mild down a little bit as time goes on and the fermentation keeps going. It's going to mild out a little bit more, and those flavors are going to meld a little bit. So I'm going to make sure my consistency is the way that I want it. We'll get it in a jar, put a fermentation lid on it, and it'll go in the fridge. And that's it, and it'll be ready to use. Now that the blending's all done, and I've got to the flavor profile I'm looking for, I'm going to go ahead and run it through a very fine mesh strainer just to remove any of the seeds that didn't happen to get blended up. So It's still a little thicker than I'd like, but I'm still happy with the flavor profile. I'm afraid adding any additional fluid to it to get it to break down, to get it to thin out a little bit might affect the flavor. Some recipes say that you should add some of your brine back in, but to me that just adds too much saltiness. All right, so we're all done straining it. Here are the solids that were left. So most of this is pieces of seeds, and these seeds were a lot tougher in these red ripe peppers than the ones from the green jalapenos that I made our previous hot sauce from. So I think that probably next time when I'm using the mature peppers, I'm going to go ahead and just leave the seeds out and make sure that I de-seed them before I put them into the brine for fermenting. So this left us with right about 3 cups of sauce. Let me get that in the jar right now. And I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, so here we are. This is the pepper sauce. As you can see, it's got a pretty runny consistency. It looks a lot kind of like Frank's hot sauce. We're going to go ahead and get a couple on-camera taste tests. Josh, here we go. We got, how old are you?
9.
Will you not hold me liable or responsible for any health issues or damages incurred from tasting this sauce? Just say yes.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, here you go. Take a taste. Lick your lips. Is it good? Is it hot?
Yeah, it's pretty hot.
All right. Next. All right. Caleb, age 16.
Don't tell me no one my age is.
He's 16, guys. This is why he's got that. Never mind.
Yeah.
All right. So, do you agree not to hold me liable or responsible for any bodily damages that might occur from you ingesting this hot sauce?
As long as fire doesn't come.
Oh, come on, Josh did it. Go ahead.
That's good.
That's good. All right. And Luke, age, how old are you again?
12.
Oh, he's 12. All right.
Is this really necessary?
Yes. Oh, wait. Do you agree not to hold me liable or responsible for any bodily injuries?
No.
Too bad. Eat. All right, there we go. There's our second batch of fermented hot sauce. First with red peppers. We've got one more batch brewing over in the dining room. We're going to get it blended down into some sauce here, hopefully in another 2 or 3 days, hopefully by Sunday. Well, thank you so much for joining us on this hot journey. We had a lot of fun making it. Hopefully you got something out of it too. Appreciate you guys. And as always, God bless.